Okay, now let's look at what I think is the hardest part of this task. Okay, we want to look at the triangular prism. Now a triangular prism is like one of those old-fashioned tents. Okay, it's like when you get a triangle and then you make it really long to make a three-dimensional shape. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, scroll down to the last page. Look, there are pictures. Here was my rectangular prism. Here are my triangular prisms. Now remember, the original rectangular prism was 2 by 4 by 3. Okay, so it was 2 tall, 4 along the bottom here, and 3 going backwards. We're going to make a triangular prism that looks just like this. Look at your picture. Okay, but we've got the height is 2, the base of the triangle. Remember, when we find the area of a triangle, it's a half base times perpendicular height. So here's my height, here's my base, and here is my length of my prism. Okay, so we want to do the same thing that we did with the rectangular prisms. Here was the rectangular prism, then we made it longer. Here is my triangular prism, and we want to make it longer. So if this was 3, if we double this, it becomes 6. Okay, and then this is my original prism, that's a rectangle. My original prism, that's a triangle. We made it longer. Then we went and we said, what, instead of making it longer that way, we make it longer this way across the page. So here's my original height. I didn't change that, 2 on my triangular prism. Here's my length. I didn't change that, but what I did was I made the base twice as long. So look, here's my original triangular prism. This one is going longer this way. This one is going longer that way. And then my final one, okay, has gotten taller. And if you look in the box of shapes that I've got in my classroom, there's a triangle like each one of these. You can see which one is which. Okay, so look here, my original height was 2. This one has got double the original height, so it is 2 times 2. So that's the number you fill in the table for this triangle. For this triangle, it was the original base times 2, and the base was originally 4, so 4 times 2. And this one got longer this way, so it's the original length times 2. So these are my triangular prisms, and we've just doubled the volume of all of them by changing one side at a time. So we went from my original, first we changed the length, then we changed the base, and then we change the height. Okay, so if we go back to the table up top here, flip back your page till you find the one that says triangular prism. Okay, we want to find out what happens to the surface area when we change the volume. So the first thing we have to do is find the volume. So let's look at our original prism over here. It's the one that's 3 by 4 by 2. Now, you found the volume of a cube and you found the volume of a rectangular prism. Let's have a look at how we find the volume of a triangular prism. On the last page of the investigation are a whole bunch of formulae, which is the plural of formulas, okay? And here, if you look on the last page, is a formula that says volume of a triangular prism, okay? And it says it's half the base times the perpendicular height. So a half base times perpendicular height is in actual fact area of a triangle, okay? So the area of the triangle, and then it is multiplied by the length of the prism. So it's the area of the triangle times the length. So go ahead now and find this formula, and you can shorten it to a half base perpendicular height times length of prism. Let's make this a cursive L. Okay, so take this formula now, from the last page of your data sheet, okay, and then take the formula from the last page of your data, investigation, and write it over here, somewhere over here in pencil where the volume is. You can write the formula in here, okay, and then you're going to find the volume of the prism. If the length is 3, the base is 4, and the perpendicular height is 2. So take this formula, and you can pause the video if you want to. Take this formula that says a half base times the perpendicular height times the length. Take this, okay, and put it in over here on your volume thing, and then put the numbers in your calculator. Find the answer for the original prism. Then put the numbers in your calculator for the one where you made it 2 times as long. Then when you made the base, remember the base was originally 4, and then if we double it, what number are we going to put in here? We're going to put 4 times 2 in here, the answer in here. And then we're going to work out the volume using the formula that we wrote in pencil over here. And you can put the numbers in your calculator, find the volume. And then finally, for the last one, when we made it taller, we took the height. The new size is the original height, which was 2 times 2. So put the answer to 2 times 2 in this box here. I hope you know what's 2 times 2. If not, use your calculator. And then you're going to be able to, if you've got all the numbers for the length, the base, and the perpendicular height, you are going to be able to use your calculator to work out all of these volumes from this formula that we have on the formula sheet. A half the base times the perpendicular height times the length of the prism. So that will sort out your volume issues. Okay, now you can stop the video here and work out all of the volume issues. I want to talk to you now about the surface area of this prism. Okay, so if you've stopped the video, do all your sums for volume of the prism. Okay, and now let's look at the surface area. So if we look at the triangle, remember I said to you your surface area is like the skin of an animal. Okay, so the surface area is like a skin. If we have a look at this triangular prism, we can look at its skin by making a net and unfolding the net. Can you see here down the bottom of my page here is a net. So what we have to do is we have to match the sides of my net with the shape, and then if we can match the sides with the shape, I think that some of us know the formula for area of a triangle. Okay, and do we know the formula for area of a rectangle? We should know these two formulas, because if you have a look at my net, can you see I've got 2 triangles and one, look here, 1 triangle, 2 triangles, and then I've got 1, 2, 3 rectangles. My rectangles are all different shapes, but they are rectangles. So you'll see on the data sheet, on the information sheet with the formulas, it says to you the surface area of a prism is the sum, so we add them up, of the areas of each face. And a right-angled triangular prism has got 5 faces. Can you see them here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can see the 5 faces on my net. There are 2 triangles, okay? One that's the bottom. This one is the base times the length is the bottom. One is the length times the height, okay? That's this side on the triangle here. Can you see this side I'm coloring in? The one side is the length, the other side is the height. That's the back of my prism. And then finally this last one, the length times the hypotenuse. Let me just color it in on the picture here. If you have a look, here's the length, okay? Here's the hypotenuse. This is kind of like what I would like to call the roof of the triangle. Okay, so let's have a look here. Let's see if we can put all of these together on the net. Let's figure it out. Okay, let's rub out all of the stuff on the triangle here. Rub out, yes. Okay, look at my net for my triangular prism. And first of all, we want to look at this over here. Okay, can you see this triangle shape? This triangle shape must belong over here. So we can call this the front. Okay, and then the other triangle must be the triangle at the back. So that's the front and the back. And remember, the bottom of the triangle is 4, and if you count the blocks, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks, and I'm 1, 2 high. So this triangle is 4 by 2. Then if we have another look, let's have another look. What else have we got? We have got the back here. Can you see this back triangle? It's too tall, and then it is the length. Can you see this length belongs over here? So this one, if I fold this side down this way, I will end up with this rectangle over here, which is 2 by 4. Okay, now have a look at the bottom here. Can you see the bottom that the prism is sitting on? This bottom must be this one over here. Please excuse my dog barking. They're very excited. I don't know what they're very excited about, but they're very excited. So here is the bottom. Okay, and the bottom is 4 by 3. It's a rectangle. Now we're coming to the most interesting bit. The most interesting bit is the roof. Can you see the roof of my triangle here? Okay, here is the roof, because I've worked out all the sides, so I'm only left with this roof. Now, the problem is, if you look at this roof carefully, can you see we can work on the length is 3 over here? That's obvious. But over here is a side that is 1, 2, 3, 4 and a little bit blocks. So this 4 and the little bit blocks is in actual fact tying up with the hypotenuse of my right angled triangle. Okay, because remember, when I fold this up, I'm going to fold this up to meet that triangle when I fold my net up. So it's easy to find the area of the back. Okay, it's easier to find the area of the bottom. It's easier to find the area of the front and the back, but the roof is a bit harder. The roof is a rectangle, and the roof is a rectangle with one side that's the hypotenuse, the same length as the hypotenuse, because remember it closes on there, multiplied by how deep is your prism, the length. Okay, so your job is going to be to find the hypotenuse of the triangle, not to find the area of the triangle, but to find the area of this roof that is coming off the triangle. Okay, so to find the length of the hypotenuse, we have to use Pythagoras' theorem. Here's a right angled triangle, and Pythagoras' theorem says a squared plus b squared plus c, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So for this triangle, have a look here. The triangle is 2 by 4. So my A over here is going to be 2, and my B is going to be 4. So this is going to be 2 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. So 4 plus 16 equals c squared. So c is going to be equal to the square root of 20. So once we know how long this side is, we know how long the roof is. So when we find the area of this shape, it's going to be length times breadth, because it's a rectangle. It's going to be square root of 20 times by 3, which is this other side over here. Okay, so let's recap here. How do we find the surface area of the prism. The triangular prism, it's got 5 faces, the 2 triangles, the bottom, the back, and what I'm calling the roof. So your job is to find the area of the triangle. We know area of a triangle, it's a half base times the perpendicular height. The area of a rectangle is length times breadth. So this one is easy. This one is easy. This one is easy. The roof, you have to use Pythagoras to find the side, the long side of the roof. Can you see it's labeled hypotenuse on all of these shapes? Okay. So look here, number 1 and number 2 have got the same hypotenuse, but these ones' hypotenuses are different. And then once you've found the hypotenuse on all of these, you can find the surface area of this roof, okay? And you can just use the formula of a rectangle, where one of the sides of this rectangle on the roof is the hypotenuse of the roof. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Just have a go and have a bit of a think about it. And then if you don't want to have a think about it, use the formula, okay? And then you can get all the marks for the prism volume, and if you want to find the surface area, then you just have to think that little bit harder. But remember, you can copy this formula here, which is on the back page of your work. This formula here, goodness me, I'm making a terrible line drawing here. You can copy this formula and you can use this formula to find the surface area, because all the values for the base and the length and the height are in the table. It's only the hypotenuse you have to work out.